doing? Morning, Robert. Morning, Joe. Morning, FTNet. Morning, Mumo. Morning, Joe again. Happy Friday. Morning, Barry. Let's check. How we doing? Themba, how are you? All good. It's Friday. It's non-farm payroll day. Big day today. Usual big day today. So, got quite a bit of covering new stuff to cover this morning because a lot happened yesterday. But obviously today is the focus for the Canadian dollar and the US dollar, non-farm payroll. So unemployment rates are one of the most important things we look at from a fundamental perspective. My pen's disappeared. What's it doing down there again? Why does it always go in the most inconvenient spot? So unemployment rate expected to rise in Canada. Unemployment rate expected to stay the same in the US. I think there's a chance that might tick up. So we'll see what happens. But the Fed basically and Canada both stuck on tariffs, not knowing what to do with interest rates at the moment because they don't know what's going to happen. So we might have a bit of a volatile one today. So we'll see what happens. But so that's the news today. Obviously, we know that. I'll be on at 2:30. I'm going to come on for normal time today. I'm not going to do a stream for the non-farm payroll. Morning, Gregors. Morning, Mark. Just because I don't actually trade it. So there's no point in me coming on and sitting there and watching it. You can see it yourself. So I'll obviously trade New York session, but see how the markets moved prior to New York. I'll probably trade it, but quite often we get... if we get a big move on non-farm payroll, the stock indices are very sideways after that, but it really varies. So it's a decision-making process as to what's happened during the day, as to how much money you've made, as to whether you want to risk any more during it. So we'll see when we get to it basically later. So this morning's Q&A session, if anybody's got any questions on anything, anybody wants to cover anything on strategy, position trading, anything basically, have a look at any pairs, just general Q&A type thing this morning. We're going to obviously trade the open, watch the indices, and see where they go. FTSE's already gone. Yesterday was a bad day. Well, not a bad day yesterday. It wasn't a profitable day, but it was a choppy day again. There we go. 5-minute ranges are in. DAX is too small. The 5-minute range. We gapped down there pretty hard as well. Look. After that 5-minute candle went in, big order came in right on the 5-minute. So there's your initial ranges. So FTSE, the range is in. But yesterday, DAX was a decent trade. Broke out long, straight up to target, stopped out on a trailer. It then took a short here and stopped out on that short after this big spike down. So as you can see, where we actually went yesterday was absolutely nowhere. All we did was we whipsawed. So this is what I class as a rotation day. The FTSE was kind of same price action, but got stopped out on the FTSE just before it rallied. And it rallied a little bit further than the DAX. So it's just an unfortunate stop out on that one, but it rallied nicely eventually. And then we tried to break down again and stopped out on that. So a double stop out on the FTSE yesterday. The US indices, pile of crap. US indices yesterday, absolute. This is, if you want a definition of rotational markets, this is it. So it basically, we opened, we rotated down, we rotated up, we rotated down, we rotated up, then we finally dropped afterwards. But that, you cannot make any money on this as a breakout trader. Obviously, as soon as it drops, it comes back up, stops you out, takes you long, up, stops you out, takes you short. If you took it again, stops you out. Useless. So, yeah, the US session was unfortunate. So I made money in the morning, but lost it in the afternoon. But can't really do a lot with it. When the market's like this, it's a very difficult market at the minute. This week's been challenging, but there's not a lot you can do. So made some decent money on the Dow yesterday. Took a break even on the long, and the short worked out. So it's just one of those days where it's choppy, nasty price action. So tough week this week. Right, so DAX is going short. FTSE's rejecting a short move at the minute. So this has been an interesting morning. We've got the FTSE trying to go long and the DAX trying to go short. So if we just quickly look at the indices as to where we are at the moment. Obviously, I've been going on about, are we going bull or are we going bear? This is a critical week for deciding. As you can see, we haven't made any decisions this week at all. So this was the M pattern reversal that I was anticipating this week. This is what we got. Yeah, and a definite rejection yesterday off of that double weekly high. So that's your high from last month, which is last week's high. That is your previous week's high and the week before's high. So this area here acting as resistance, this is the high that we need to break to go out into a bull market. Market can't get to it. So we are really, really struggling here. Market, it's like it's wedging to the upside. This is a textbook upside break, wedge break. But I've seen these fail, and when they fail, they really fail. So we still got no answer as to whether we're bull or bear, have we? So it's still, I think we're going to have to wait until next week. Either it's going to go today on non-farm payroll. We're either going to get a move like that, which is going to be a couple of hundred ADR in either direction, and it's going to answer the question, yes, we're going bull, which we're going to take out the highs, or we're not, and we're coming down to test those lows and putting another leg in, or we're not. So it's non-farm payroll this afternoon is going to be quite critical. But yesterday, as you can see, down day. So Monday, nice bull day. Tuesday, nice bull day. Wednesday, we did nothing. Thursday, attempted a breakout, rejected it. So today, if we put a lower low in on that reversal alert, that is a multi-week M pattern reversal. So we've still got to break that low though. Yeah, the gap fill is still there as well. So there's many reasons to go short on the US indices at the minute. We did start to creep from that greed down into neutral as well, but we didn't manage to do that either. So market's just kind of stalled out. Jesus, what's happened to the DAX? Yeah, we had industrial production come out, but that came out at 7 o'clock. So it's not that. Well, just a big move on the DAX there. Okay, so there's your DAX range in. Well, that's going to be fun to trade, isn't it? So long triggered on the FTSE. How did I not stop out on that? For once, the broker decided not to take my money away from me when I hit a target. Anyway, there we go. So, yeah, somehow didn't get stopped out on the FTSE on that. Yeah, so that's a big old range on the DAX today. So we'll see where we go. We haven't gone anywhere yet. Market is in indecision at the moment. DAX certainly looks bearish, fully bullish on the FTSE. So we have got complete divergence across them this morning. We'll see where they go. We'll come back to that in a bit. Right. Morning, everybody else who's turned up. Peter, Vitaly, change the dollar sign. Change the double dollar sign. What? Oh, dollar sign. What? I don't know what you mean. Morning, it's time. Morning, Monkey. Morning, Virginia. Right. So news yesterday. There was quite a lot of news yesterday. Not really impactful news. In the respect of moving the markets, but impactful in the respect of Trump. So it came out yesterday that obviously Musk and Trump have had a big falling out, and Trump's obviously kicked him out, or he's left, or what? On my ORB, what do you mean? Oh, dollar sign. Yes, dollar sign. Okay. I will do that at some point, yeah. This is a pound account, basically. I've done the S&P. I've done the Nasdaq. No, I didn't do the Nasdaq. I did the Dow. I haven't done the others. I will have to do that. I'm not going to interrupt the inputs while the EA is running. I never touch an EA while it's running. So yeah, we had Trump obviously having a go at Elon having a go at Trump, all that sort of stuff. So it was quite interesting, the little spat they had. But what came out of it was Elon basically came out and said, time to drop the big bomb. Trump is in the what's his name files, the paedophile guy. So he's basically accusing him of covering up releasing documents because he's in there. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But there's potential turmoil going to start kicking off now around that, a big rumour mill going on. The European rates came out yesterday. They were as expected. Lagarde was very... Epstein, his name is. That's it. You just reminded me. Lagarde was very, very clear that this is the last interest rate drop for the moment. So the board all unanimously voted for an interest rate drop, apart from one member. But the board also pretty much unanimously voted on a freeze for July. So this interest rate now is potentially looking like it might be the bottom for the euro. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Obviously, they have not agreed any tariffs with US yet. They're still in the trade war situation. We've still got that hanging over everybody at the moment. When that 90-day freeze expires, Trump's got to do something. So we still don't know how that's going to affect world markets at all. But they are happy now with interest rates at 2.15%. So if you look at the euro movement yesterday, we had a little bit of a spike up on that and then a retracement back down. So that news of that 2.15% potentially being the bottom, at least short term for the next quarter probably, indicates potentially slightly bearish movement on the euro. Because we know that we won't be increasing interest rates. So it's not really bullish, it's not really bearish, but it's slightly more bearish than bullish. So it's a case of euro will probably, I think, now we've got the interest rate down, go back to its stance that it was prior, just after COVID, where it becomes the whipping boy of the market. There is no reason to buy the euro. There's no reason to sell the euro. So the euro remains fairly neutral from a power perspective, which means that everything else pushes it around. So if the Swiss franc rallies, this goes down. If the Swiss franc drops, this goes up. But it won't move particularly because of euro movement. So we have to wait and see. Obviously, the massive question mark we have at the moment is the dollar going to be the world's currency moving forward? If not, what is? There's no reason why we can't see more transactions happening in euro rather than dollar, meaning that this thing will become a hell of a lot more volatile. So, there's a million question marks out there. There always is in forex, but at the moment specifically, it's very difficult to forecast anything. So, euro, I would be happy to trade the euro in any direction now off the back of that news yesterday. So, I don't think it's bullish. I don't think it's bearish. I think we're just going to stay where we are now. We also had Trump and Xi having the conversation. So China talking now to the US. It seemed like it was a productive call. It looks like it's all going to start to get into the negotiation phase. So hopefully these ridiculous 100% plus tariffs on China will not come back in, and that will all calm down, which will obviously bring the market back into a bit more normality, which is what we want. So that's all moving ahead. Whether it happens or not, we'll have to wait and see. They've got meetings planned. There you go. Trump, I asked Musk to leave. Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do. And he just went crazy. You could just imagine Musk going crazy like a little child. But so that happened yesterday. So that was yesterday's news in a nutshell. There was obviously a lot more happening, but yeah, it's nothing that really affected the financial markets specifically. So So as you can see, today we have no ADRs. We had a couple of ADR hits yesterday. So I got in yesterday into the Aussie US. That was an ADR hit to the upside yesterday. That was actually it wasn't. It wasn't actually an ADR. It almost was an ADR. So there's your high of the month. We tapped into the high of the month yesterday, and I saw that 3-bar reversal. So this is a textbook 3-bar reversal at resistance. Push, pause, pull. I got in. Yeah. So I'm sure Aussie US now. The reversal alert triggered, and then the retest also triggered, as you can see. We've got a propulsion move to the downside, which is also holding. So hopefully this is going to break yesterday's low, and then we'll flush back down into this level here. So, yeah, I got into an Aussie US yesterday. That was a lovely double top. There were a couple of ADRs as well that I looked at, but nothing particularly exciting. So, this is the other one I was looking at getting into yesterday. I've got another opportunity to get into it now. It's my euro exposure. I got quite a lot of euro on already. I've got euro CAD short and I've got euro pound long. I really like this though, this euro Swiss. That would kind of put me into a hedge situation. So this thing's been going sideways for 1, 2, 3, pretty much 4 weeks now. So we pushed up, pulled back, and since there, which is the entirety of last month, we've just been sitting in a range. So I bought the lows there. I bought the lows there. This is a lovely place to sell back down into these lows somewhere. You've got a backup coming up here and here. So if you short this right now where we are out of this weekly propulsion gap, you've got an additional trade you could take roughly up at ADR there, but that is only going to be 38. That's about 3/4 on ADR, so that's all right actually. That's not a bad entry. And then you've got up here about 125 ADR, 150 ADR, that other high. So this is looking like a good short from here. We've got 2 nice propulsion gap targets to the downside as well. Reversal alert's already kicked in on the 5-minute, as you can see. So I'm a little bit late on it, but I like that as a short. I just don't really want to overexpose myself on the euro, but then again, I have got no Swiss franc on. I'm taking it. So there, first entry euro Swiss. So my additional will be here, which is just shy of the monthly high. So we'll need to obviously break the monthly high for me to take a second on it. But somewhere up in this region, I'd be happy with a second entry on it, and then obviously looked for a pullback. But yeah, I like that. I like the euro short after yesterday's announcement as well. So the longs I've got on the euro are the euro pound, which is at pretty much break even, isn't it? Although obviously I'm in drawdown because of the $125 in swaps I've paid. I can't get out of this thing. It's I've banked it twice. So I've banked on it twice. However, it's got a massive swap cost. So I'm going to need a weak pound to help that one out, really. And I've got pound US dollar short as well. So I might just leave that as it is. But yeah, anyway, so ADRs, we haven't got any. Weeklies, New Zealand CAD and New Zealand US, these are both the same pair basically, so don't trade both. They are weekly extensions. You've kind of missed, it was yesterday, you've got the retest going on now there. So there's your reverse alert, propulsion move, retest, retest, retest. Yeah, so there's your M pattern starting. If we break that low, we were off down to here. So good looking short opportunity, New Zealand US. And New Zealand CAD, that was on the week. That was earlier in the week. We've missed that one. So as you can see, there's nothing extended on the monthly yet after the first week. We've had 2 AWRs. So this week has just been the same as the rest. It's just flat as a pancake at the moment. It's just not moving, this market. RSI dashboard, totally flat. There are no RSI extensions. So again, absolutely useless. Just can't do anything with this thing at the minute. It's dead, isn't it? Let's have a look at the markets. Back to these. Okay, so FTSE not gone anywhere. I'm hedged. I hate it when it gets hedged. So short the DAX and long the FTSE. One of them is going to work out. One of them isn't going to work out. Neither of them are really moving much at all. What about curious, in your trading room, how many screens do you have? One. Oh, well, I've got 3 rooms. 3 rooms? 3 screens. Does it help to have at least 2 screens? Do you have anything else in your room that helps other than the computer? No. So I've got my socials over there. This monitor is for trading. This monitor is for work, other stuff, coding and things, whatever else I'm doing, and chat at the moment. So yeah, I've got 3 monitors. There's a picture of my setup somewhere. I can never find it. It doesn't matter how many times I look for this image. I can never find it. Is it that one? Oh, why can't I go into preview mode? Large icons. There we go. That's my old one. Yeah, now I've got my old setup. This is my old setup. This is basically what I used to have, which was good at the time. Is obviously just for when I was doing. This is when I was doing manual trading more. So when I was manually trading, obviously I need to be reacting to alerts and signals all the time. So I needed to be looking at everything. So I had one monitor here, which was my main multi-time frame analysis. And then I had an overview of all FX pairs running, so that I could see what everything was doing, basically, and keep track of everything. But you've only got one pair of eyes, so you can only look at one chart. So it's nice to be able to go and wonder what's happening with the euro pairs at the moment, look up and see what's happening with the euro pairs. But what this tends to do for most traders, and for me as well, is it gives you information overload. So you will look at something and go, oh, that's a lovely setup. I wonder what everything else is doing. You'll look at something happening like a W pattern reversal happening on a pair, and then all the other pairs will say, yeah, but it doesn't look good on this one. So what you do is you talk yourself out of taking trades. So the more information you have, the more information you need to process, the more conflicting information you're going to receive, the more difficult it's going to be to make a decision on trading. So although it looks impressive and you see all these people selling these courses going, hey, look at my setup, you've only got one pair of eyes. You can only analyze one pair and you can only make one decision which has a 50-50 outcome. So having all this information actually doesn't help. The best thing to do, which is what I did with this setup, was get rid of it and then move over to the alert dashboards, because I look at one chart. So when I get an alert ping up at me, I go, oh, I've had an alert on the New Zealand dollar CAD or the New Zealand dollar US dollar. I look at it and I analyze it and I make a decision based on the information I've just received. There's no other influences here saying, yeah, but. I'm looking at this. And then I look at my dashboard and go, right, what's my exposure on the New Zealand? I'm short already. Don't really want to take that because I'm already short on it. I've got a short signal on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. I'm already short in the New Zealand. So it's confirming what I'm already doing. Brilliant. Decision made. Yeah. Too much information. You get just too much happening basically to make a decision-making process sort of play out properly in your brain. try and see if I can find my other. I think it's in Discord somewhere. But the setup I've got at the moment is I've got a 42-inch monitor here with MT4 on it, which is what you're looking at now. I've got a lot more room around it. So the MT4 sits in the middle of the screen, and then I've got stuff around it as well because it's a massive monitor. And then I've got these other two, but these other two are for kind of admin tasks. Monitoring the chat system in Discord, Telegram, there's streaming systems over there. You can't, when you automate yourself, you don't need to see everything. That's the beauty of it. Everybody tries to do everything. You can't do everything in this. Everything is interlinked. Yeah. So, when the S&P is rallying up, the NASDAQ is also rallying up. The Dow Jones will be rallying up. What's the point in looking at all three of them? Just too much info. It's the same thing. Yeah. But you get, after you've tried to do this, there's a really weird price action today. We got the DAX dropping and the FTSE rallying at the same time. Trying to rally. I wouldn't say it's a rally, but anyway, that's my setup. And target for the Euro Swiss? I don't know. 1 ADR for me. So I'll be looking at getting down somewhere in the region of that weekly low. I'm going to assume the range is going to stay range bound. In fact, even that we could break out the lows now with the euro interest rate drop. So somewhere down here. But if you want to get out, I'm position trading. So I'm always looking for an ADR movement. If this goes up and hits there and I get a second trade on, my average will be here and I'll be looking for an ADR movement. If it gets down into there and you see an M5 reversal alert and a retest and you say, fancy that, take it. Yeah, there's a probability it will bounce out of that propulsion gap and we'll put in a higher low. And it might not happen until Monday. But for me, I get out when there's money on the table. So I'll look at that. I have DAX D1 RSI at 70. I don't know. I don't monitor the DAX RSI. RSI is daily RSIs on stock indices are just nothing. I don't do them. It's not my strategy. Daily RSI on the DAX is 70-ish, yeah. Got divergence there, look, on the daily. Bearish. This market just feels like it wants to drop. It feels like it can't go higher. All the stock indices just feel like they are. Every move to the upside just feels like a struggle at the moment. A la FTSE. Everything feels like a struggle at the moment, doesn't it? Would you say that it's superior to have 2 screens maximum? Up to you. How much can you multitask? Yeah. So when I'm programming, right? When I program, what I have is 3 screens that I work on. So I have up here, I have my testing terminal. I've just moved it over there. Over there, I have my code screen where I code. And over here, I have my kind of reference monitor, if you like, where I'm like, I wonder what I need to do there. And that's a web browser or AI to help me with coding. So that's what I use because that's what I need. You could do that all on one screen. If you have one massive monitor, you could split it into 4 and do it that way. But it's up to you how many monitors you have. It's total preference. Remember, you've got one set of eyeballs. Right? So I cannot be watching the markets while coding and looking up information. I can't do that. I can only do one thing at a time. So if you're really good at Alt-Tab and you can switch between windows really fast, you only need one monitor because you can only do one thing. It looks great having all these big monitors around you, but it doesn't help you in any way. It's good for quick reference, but my argument is this is why I stopped doing it. Power consumption for a start. My electricity bill dropped dramatically. But it's like if you get an alert on something, we use the New Zealand dollar, US dollar as a reference because we got a weekly alert on it. So I'm looking at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and I'm analysing that. If I want to look at the euro pound, I can do two things right now. So no, I won't want to look at the euro pound. So let's say I want to look at the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, Aussie dollar, US dollar, because it's related to the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So I can do one of two things. I can either look to the monitor that's got the Australian pairs on, or I can go over to there and do that. Right, what's the time difference between going, where's my Aussie pairs? They're up there. What's the Aussie US doing? Or what is the New Zealand US dollar doing? What is the Aussie US doing? It's that fast. So why do I need to... I can either move my hand and mouse and expel some energy to keep my weight down, or I can use my neck muscle to look at a different monitor. Up to you. What would you rather do? For me, I just can't be bothered. Also, the other nice thing about getting yourself used to using one monitor, because you've only got one set of eyeballs, is when you go abroad or you're downstairs out of your office or whatever, and I've only got my laptop with me, I'm used to looking at one chart. If you're looking at 6 monitors with every pair under the sun in front of you, and then you go downstairs and you open up your laptop, you'll feel lost. You'll feel like, I can't see anything. And if you need to see everything, you can obviously tile everything and see all the pairs on one screen, but you can't see anything then because it's all too small. So you have to get your glasses out. I just, it looks impressive, but it's not helpful. This is breaking down. I'm really tempted to get out of this FTSE. Just the DAX is breaking hard to the downside. I don't think this FTSE is going to go. I'm going to make an executive decision. I'm taking the FTSE long off. So taking a small loss on the FTSE. If it goes, it goes. It's the wrong decision. But we've tried now for 30 minutes to break out, and we haven't managed to. We are at a previous resistance where it seems the market has not been able to get through yesterday, and also this was a failed breakout attempt of Wednesday's high. So this is what I mean by the market. I think feels like it's struggling at the moment to go long. Yeah, so we're trying to go long. We can't. We try again. We can't. So we sit around. We have another run up. We try. We can't. We try. We can't. We sit around. We have another run up. That seems to be what we're doing at the moment. Is we're just trying to get out of these highs because the market wants to make new highs. It wants to be bullish. It wants to go all-time high because that's what the market does. But there's so much holding it back at the moment. Fundamentally, it just can't do it. It just looks, but equally, there's an iceberg order holding this down at the moment, potentially here. That iceberg may run out of steam and bang, we'll smash it and we'll go through straight away. But looking at the DAX today, DAX is certainly not attempting highs, is it? So we are bearish as a market perspective this morning. That's the other good thing about having multiple monitors, being able to see multiple instruments. So, you can, if I tile this screen now, I'm not going to do it, but if I tile it, I'll have a complete overview of the stock markets. So I'll have an overview of what's going on in the US during Globex. I'll have an overview of what's going on in Europe. And I have an overview of what's going on in London. I'll have an overview of what's going on in tech, industrial. Yeah. So viewing 5 charts at once on your screen has an advantage of a sector view with stock indices specifically, which is why I had my monitors set up into those specific groupings. So I had the Australian pairs there, I had the US pairs there, or whatever I had set up. The Swiss and the yens together because they were the safe havens. So it's just like what's going on. If you suddenly see the Swiss take off and the yen take off at the same time, it's a safe haven run, which means that something fundamentally has happened in the world that's made the market scared. So you can tell it's a safe haven run. Does it help you make a decision? Are you suddenly going to jump in with a safe haven short? No. But it does tell you that you need to go and look at the news and find out what's going on and adjust your positions. So it's got that advantage as well, seeing everything at once. But, don't rush out and invest in something that runs 6 monitors. For a start, there's not many graphics cards that run 6 monitors now either. I reckon for trading, laptop plus one other screen. Yeah, it's plenty. Yeah, I mean, that's all you need. Alerts is what you need. Afternoon, Pot DJ. I use MacBook Air 13, nothing more. But for analysis, support and resistance, I would like to have a bigger screen. Yeah. So now, because I got out, obviously it's breaking long, and my short is coming out of this V-shaped recovery propulsion move. Right. So just obviously I've got nothing else much to talk about this morning. There's no point in doing any analysis. If I go through all the FX pairs today, I'm going to say on everything I look at, we'll see what happens in non-farm payroll. It can either go up or down because that's what's going to happen. Yeah. So non-farm payroll day, interest rate decisions affect monetary policy. Monetary policy is what drives markets. So at the end of the day today, if NFP, or rather the unemployment rate in the US and Canada comes out dramatically bigger or smaller than expected, we're going to get some big movements. So everything today, if I look at it, I'll be saying, I don't know which way it's going because it's going to change this afternoon. So right now, I'll go through the positions that I've got on. I'm not looking to take any more exposure on today, obviously, because we've got unemployment rates coming out, and I'm also pretty much exposed as far as I want to be. So what I've got on at the moment is Aussie New Zealand as a long, which I've been in for a week. I can't do anything with it. So target is up here, but it's just not going anywhere. So 2 positions on that. Aussie US just taken yesterday, first entry. So looking for a drop back down into this propulsion here. This is 70 pips away. ADR is 57. So if it gets down into the kind of low of the week, that'll be an exit today, but it won't be much money because it's just a single. Swiss yen, I can't find a trade entry on that. I'm only really interested in last week's high at the minute on this. As you can see, all week we've just gone nowhere. So I haven't found an entry. There have been entries overnight on it. This propulsion bounce, I didn't fancy. It's just not moving enough. So, can't do anything with that one at the minute. Euro CAD, short on it. So I got 2 positions on that. Same story. Yeah, we just can't make money if the market goes sideways. Euro Swiss, just taken first short on that today off the double top. That's a beautiful, just this whole area, this propulsion move down. We resold it. We've just resold it. So yeah, we're selling that. We're buying it down here, and down here, and potentially here. Yeah, so this is a pretty strong support. It's just hidden behind these bits of chop, but the market has respected that many times. So that's a really good downside target. In fact, that is 43 pips. Target on this for me will be 49. There's no sense in going for 49 when 43 is obvious. This is a double daily low. So that is yesterday's low, previous day's low, the day before's low. So this whole area, really, we know we don't really want to trade below that at the moment. So if this is going to come down, I'm getting out there. I don't normally use TPs, but in this case, it's so range bound. Euro pound, I've got long. I've banked on it twice. It's just, it looks like it's moving nicely. But it's not. It's just sideways. Again, we've been sitting sideways for weeks. I can't get any traction in either direction. So I've got 3 trades on it. I've banked on it twice. I've got $125 in swap costs to absorb. So that is my exit. It's going to bank me virtually nothing. I've already banked on it twice, so it is going to bank me. But this final remainder of it, because I've been in it so long, is just going to not really make a lot of money. It's just because the swaps, can't do anything with it. And the pound US dollar. So this short I've been in for a while as well. So obviously that was my last entry long. This is a great example of a position trade gone wrong because I didn't follow my rules. Yeah, I took a breakout. I don't do breakouts. I do mean reversion because breakouts fail most of the time. Indices, momentum breakouts work. FX, most breakouts fail because the market rotates all the time. And the volume changes, the sentiment changes. Everything changes in FX, whereas in stock indices, everyone goes, well, stock's going up, we'll buy it. It's very much a different market. But I took a breakout because we had a news event, and I was like, this looks like this could really go. And then it came straight back up again. So first entry went in there. Second, third, fourth, fifth, banked, fifth, still in fifth. Yeah, so for the whole of this week and last week, for those last 2 weeks, really, week and a half, I've been in the fifth position. I can't get out of it. So just waiting for this to drop. I'm not getting aggressive on it yet. I haven't got enough drawdown on it. I've got 5 on. I'm just waiting for a pullback into propulsion. So again, I will take that off if we get back to this propulsion gap. So this trade here, I will take off down here, and then hopefully just gradually scale out of it. But we really got to get some of that US dollar strength, and there's no reason for the dollar to be strong still at the minute. Still not making progress on the FTSE. Look, so we're inside bar on the FTSE for the last 5 minutes. I mean, it is trying, isn't it? Such a difficult market this week. It's just been really obscure price action. We've had no clue. Like you can see, you know you're not going to make a fortune when the market does this. Yeah, that's what we want. It's just not happening at the minute, is it? So DAX back inside. Look at there's no volume either. Look, just gapped up there. There's just no liquidity in the market either. One of those days today. We do quite often sit around on non-farm payroll because obviously there's no real intention to buy large portions of any sector when you don't know what the dollar's going to do. The dollar's going to do something potentially this afternoon. So although obviously that doesn't affect the European and the pound-based markets, but they are all stocks, they are all sectors. So we might just rotate. In which case, taking a single trade is the way forward. Just take the 1 loss instead of 100. Morning from Pontevedra. Summer is coming, but I'm still waiting for rain. We've got plenty of it. Come over here. For US dollar pairs, all bets are still against the dollar. For me, they are, yeah. But equally, there could be some wonderful master plan at work here. You hear the saying, motivation in madness. It's what he's doing and what he's done. Most of the planet think is nuts. He obviously doesn't. Now, he's either certifiable or he's very clever. If he's very clever, he's powering up the dollar in the way that we don't know. That's fine. But at the minute, there's no reason to buy the dollar. That could all change very quickly with a couple of news events. If you look at the news and you look at the continued direction of news, like all the important news, all the red news events, these affect the market as a sort of a rally or a drop based on whether it's a bullish or a bearish deviation, basically. So this is where we are. This is where we're planning. That's what we factored in. Did we get it? No. Okay, we need to sell a little bit off because we're overexposed. Yeah, and then you get your next US one, which is bullish. So it will drop a little bit. It will pop a little bit. Then we've got the services. Then we'll drop a little bit. That's the CAD. Unemployment. Then we'll drop a little bit more. This afternoon, we could pop a bit. Yeah. So it's all to do with how the fundamentals affect the market scorecarding overview of whether we should be overall bullish or overall bearish. And then you cross that with something else, and all of a sudden you've got a trading plan. Yeah. This is how the banks and institutions look at economics and how fundamentals move markets. But all we're going to need to make that dollar strong is really good unemployment numbers. Yeah. So if we get a lovely big green number, and then next week we get a green number and a green number, that dollar is going to power up. Yeah. But equally, Trump at any point in time could just go, nope, and say or do something to undo it. And this is the difficulty we have with a Trump presidency. And this is when, I traded through the last Trump administration. It was exactly the same. Fundamentals go out the window because he does things different. He just comes in and he breaks the rules that most presidents want to do. And it's not a bad thing because he is one of those leaders that wants to make change, but he does it in a very brash, aggressive mode. And all the other presidents want to be seen to be the nice guy doing everything right. So they're cautious with everything they do. He's like a bull in a china shop. And that makes volatility. Volatility as traders makes us money. However, it gives all of our strategies a complete slap across the backside because everything we do is planned on the other presidents running things nice and smoothly and orderly. So when you get massive volatility, all the stable strategies that you've ever played with in the past, they will do something completely different. Yeah, you've got to adapt. So with the dollar at the minute, you can't say it's strong based on what he's doing, but there's got to be something in what he's doing that he thinks is going to make America great again or make the dollar great in some way, shape or form. The conversation that he's having, don't forget, people forget things very, very easily. Yeah. So I've been talking for the last month about how he's upset the world, upset the economic balance. He's ripped up all the trade agreements and economic agreements we've had in place since World War II with all countries around the world. It's a new world order. And everybody's been reacting to that, all the other countries. But all the other countries would much rather have him go back to where he was 6 to 8 weeks ago and everyone go back to let's reset, because that's the easiest thing to do. All right, don't worry about it. We'll forgive you. Get on with life, because that's what we want to do. So the question is if the dollar's going to strengthen up, it's got to go back to a position of power. At the moment, it's not in a position of power because you've got people like China and Europe turning their back on the dollar, going, right, we're looking for alternatives now. Unless he comes up with something that is going to be an alternative that makes it either easy for them to turn back around and shake hands or make it attractive to shake hands, the dollar's not going to be able to power up. Doesn't matter how much good news it gets. If the pound suddenly arranges a trade agreement with Europe and China that is more beneficial for the pound than it is for the dollar's not going to beat the pound. So there's too many wheels, too many cogs turning in different directions at the moment, really, to have any kind of faith in the dollar or a direction on the dollar. And the trouble with Trump is it just happens, doesn't it? He just opens his mouth. Like yesterday, Elon's not here anymore and I'm a paedophile. Basically, that's what came out yesterday, wasn't it? Elon's had a fight. He had a black eye a few weeks ago or something, didn't he, as well? So who did that? But, it's like Elon's basically come out and said Trump is in the Epstein report, basically. There's a load of paedophiles out there and they all are connected to Epstein and Trump's in there. So basically he's just defamed Trump publicly yesterday. That's going to have an impact. Trump's decision-making process and things may well be impacted now, and that could upset the dollar. There's all sorts of stuff going on that could move this thing. So at the end of the day, you have no control. So you have to ride whatever you get into. You just have to watch your exposure. So I'm watching my exposure carefully on the dollar. Yeah. I do not want to get overexposed on the dollar at the moment. I'm not doing it. Basically, I've got Aussie US on. I've got pound US on. That's it. Not getting involved in anything else. And it will do what it does. I can't believe, though, that there won't be some kind of positive movement on the dollar at some point very soon. We've had lots of negative movement. Yeah. Because for everything to be pumping the dollar against the dollar is unusual. But, it's not really, is it? It just takes one decision that is like, really? That's going to help the dollar? And that'll be it. It will suddenly, you'll get that move in inverse. But if you try and predict the future, you will fail. Best thing to do is to ride with whatever's happening. Just get in the market. When the market gives you money, the market moves up and down. Your job is to place trades in the market and wait for your P&L to establish a positive position and then take the money. That's the job. Yeah. Not to predict the future. There's no bank or institution on the planet that can predict the future at the moment, because he will change his mind on a dime, and everything they predicted will be turned upside down. Analysts in banks at the moment, analysts in banks get paid around about 125,000 a year in the UK. Yeah. One of the most important jobs is financial analysis, fundamental analysis, economic analysis. These guys get paid big bucks to sit down, crunch numbers and go, right, the dollar's going to be slightly better than the US. The dollar's going to be slightly better than the pound on our estimates for around about 3 to 4 weeks. So continuously buy it until the next interest rate decision comes out, and then we'll recrunch those numbers. That's what those guys get paid to do. At the moment, what they're doing is going, we think this, Trump says something, back to the numbers. We think this, Trump says something, back to the numbers. All they're doing all the time is reanalyzing the same information over and over again, because the decision-making process is not based on how it usually works. Confusion. A lot of people in banks and institutions right now just pulling their hair out because you can't accurately predict what the other banks and institutions are going to do, because usually you're all doing roughly the same thing, because you all do roughly the same thing because it's what makes money. But right now, when the thing moves like that because somebody opens their mouth, it makes it very difficult to plan and manage a portfolio. We have the advantage of using very low risk. They're also using very low risk, but for us, it's not the end of the world if Trump opens his mouth, is it? We just have to ride the wave. That's your job. This is going nowhere. So FTSE is dead. It's stepping. So, that might have been the wrong call getting out that long, but it looked really bearish when I got in, when I got out. We've just rejected, the DAX is putting a new lower high, putting in lower lows. But, it's getting there very slowly. See what happens. There is no volume at all. No. Just no volume. It's because it's non-farm, I think. We've had, this does happen on non-farm payroll day. But I've done so much analysis on news events. I spent a long time doing news analysis, and you can't formulate plans on news days. Like I said this morning, when you come into this afternoon session, 1:30 will have had the unemployment rates. When you get to 2:30 and the market opens, quite often it's quite sideways. Other times it does an A-shaped or a V-shaped recovery and moves 100 ADR. So when you go back and look at all the previous non-farm payroll days and all the previous unemployment claims and do analysis on the deviation between the expected result and the actual result and what price did, you will come up with half the time it sits sideways and half the time it goes parabolic. You can't help. It doesn't help you make a decision on what to do this afternoon. You either have to trade or don't trade. If you do trade, it will either go sideways or it will go parabolic. That is always what it does. So sometimes on non-farm it's crap. Sometimes on non-farm it's amazing. Sometimes you have no volume in the morning. Other times you have loads of volume in the morning. Because there's too many cogs. There's too many things that make the market move, not just one news event. How's the mean reversion strat EA going? For indices, I haven't worked any more on it. I haven't had a time. I've got another project. Somebody's asked me to work on a project with them, and I've been absolutely absorbed in it. It's a really good website, which is kind of going to be a little portal type thing. And it's kind of dragged my attention away over the last 3 days, basically. So I've been stuck doing that. I haven't actually managed to get anywhere further with that EA. I've got to do a load of testing on it. But yeah, for days like yesterday, it would have been fantastic. It would have, I don't know actually, would it have been fantastic? Yeah, it would have taken a short there. It would not have taken a long yesterday on the re-entry, so it would have taken that short yesterday. I've just haven't had time. This is the trouble. I'm one man. But yeah, this other project I've been working on, they want me to kind of program in a lot of the logic into this website as to do analysis. It uses AI basically to do deep analysis on a regular basis throughout the day, basically. And it's a subscription website, basically, where you would just pay a monthly fee to have access to AI-driven data analysis for financial markets. So I've been working with them on that this week as a kind of project-based thing they've asked me to do, and I've kind of got really involved in it. So it's very interesting what they're doing with it. And also, there's an area of the website where you can upload your trading history, and it will give you the usual statistics, like a little bit like you're getting Quant Analyzer. This is one of my accounts, basically. So the gives you all the statistical information, the usual stuff like your strike rate, how many trades you've had, Sharpe ratios, all this sort of thing. Breaks all the trades down month by month, etc., etc. And it does similar sort of analysis to this. So analyzes does time-based analysis, it does symbol-based analysis, and then it basically gives you all this data on the screen so you can instantly see what's going on, a little bit like you get in a prop dashboard. But then it's got another element to it, which is the AI analysis of it. So the AI then analyzes your trading performance, and it gives you a kind of a traffic light system on various elements. So psychology, risk, strategy, all sorts of bits and pieces, where it breaks down your P&L and it says, have you looked at these things? This might make your trading better. It's not saying it will, it's saying, have you thought about? And it's one of these things where you stick it in and you can literally get down a rabbit hole with it and go, right, I never even thought of that. And it will go, this trader is doing amazingly well on, let me load a different report up. So it would say this trader is doing amazingly well on the NASDAQ. Their drawdown is lower than normal. They have the highest strike rate, so they should focus on that because their average trade at the moment is producing high results. However, they should focus on not trading the NASDAQ on Tuesdays, and they should focus on exiting trades usually within 1.5 hours, as the data suggests that that would improve your performance. Would you like to have a look at what would have happened type thing? And it's amazing what it shows you. And it's like, it basically does what I do. Yeah. So we've done courses on this in the member stream, or done sessions on this in the member stream, how to analyze your performance. But this does it for you. It's brilliant, this AI. And it's, it's things like the trader should look at seriously reducing risk or eliminating the FTSE from their trading portfolio, because that has produced negative results and the highest drawdown on the account. Yeah, it has also taken more trades than most of the other pairs with the lowest profit value. So the return on drawdown for the UK 100 wipes out the NASDAQ. The trader will be twice as profitable if they put all the risk from the FTSE into the NASDAQ trades and eliminated Tuesdays and closed the trades within 1.5 hours. So literally, you just upload your P&L, you press a button, and it goes, here you go, improve yourself. It's brilliant. So, yeah, so I've become involved in that this week, which has kind of just sucked my time, which is not a bad thing. So, yeah, I might get involved in that with them. They've asked me to sort of also run the social side of things, which, to be honest, I don't have the time. But if they decided to pay me, if you're watching, then I'll be happy to do that. I just cut my DAX short. Why wait for the weather to change? You cut your DAX short. Yeah, I'm also thinking this is probably where you should be getting out. Which is annoying, because if it does this, if it does bounce here, the FTSE is going to pop, potentially. I don't know. It's either going to go or it's not. This is not a propulsion gap that I would typically look at as being really strong most of the time, because this is actually a false breakout, V-shaped recovery move. It's not a propulsion gap that breaks a high. So, a propulsion move like this that breaks a low tends to be more strong. A propulsion gap that is part of a reversal tends to have less buyers in it, because it's actually sellers getting out of their sell positions by buying, not buyers entering the market and protecting a position. So it's quite, it's obviously it's a 50-50 shot either way, but they're not usually as strong as when you've got a breakout propulsion like that. Yeah, if that stops out, I will take a long and see if we can come back up and test yesterday's high. But it's just chopping at the minute. And we have broken down. This is just not really even price action, is it? But that's the gap fill from yesterday. Tricky today. Right, I will leave it there. I'll be back this afternoon at 2:30. We'll see how that went this morning. Not looking great at the moment, is it? And then, we'll see how we get on. So watch for today's, obviously, news at 1:30. Unemployment rate for the Canadian dollar, forecast to go up. Unemployment for the US, forecast to stay where it is. So we'll see what happens with those numbers. We'll either get a big move or we won't. And then we'll see what happens. But I'll be back at 2:30. We'll have a look at what's happened. Obviously, if you're in any positions, bear in mind at that news, if it is going to go mad, you are going to get opportunities to take profit. So if you've got the portfolio dash, just make sure you're on it. If you want to take profit on anything when it gets into high profit, because obviously what we could well have is a spike and then a retracement. If that spike gives you the opportunity to bank 1 or 2%. Don't get greedy and assume that that's going to happen. That is also likely to happen. Yeah. So especially at the moment. But if it's a big deviation, i.e. if that comes out at 4 or 3.9 or something, I mean, it's unbelievable if it came out with a 0.3 differential. If you look, I mean, the 0.3 differential on this is virtually unheard of. A 0.1 differential is really all you ever get. We had a 0.2 there. Yeah. But yeah, you're not going to get much more than a 0.1. So if you've got a 0.2 deviation, then yeah. So if this comes out at 4 or 4.4, you're going to get a monster move. So yeah, make sure you watch it, obviously, if you do want a profit-taking opportunity around the news. But there we go. So as usual, today and as of this week, market doing bugger all. FTSE now trying to break down again. Gap down there on no volume. DAX trying to push up. So this is absolute textbook unidirectional trading. They're in complete deviation with each other, and neither of them is moving. So can't do anything with it today. Just take your hits and deal with them, or take your profit and stop. So yeah, back at 2:30. Anything you need, I'll be in Discord or Telegram. Other than that, I'll be back this afternoon if you're about. If not, I will see you next time. Have a good day.